The Landmark Trust has a number of properties on Lundy Island which you can rent out, so for the next two films we're going to look at all of them.
It's quarter wall. Ahead of us along this track is half wall. Beyond that is the most furthest property in the village that you can stay up here on Lundy Island. This used to be called Avenue Lookout, but it's now called, because it's on the second highest hill of Lundy Island, Tibbetts Hill. It is said that from the windows of this property you can see 14 lighthouses. Now this property, being furthest from the village, does not have its own electricity supply. Everything's powered by gas, and at one time you had to hand pump your own water. This property is the barn, and is one of those for quite a number of people, and it's the nearest to a dormitory. You've got lots of beds next to each other. It's usually used by groups like school groups, university, or people working on a special assignment. Large groups of people coming together. The barn is on the edge of the village, just like the campsite is for those brave, or is it foolhardy, robbery brave, to camp out in the elements. These people had no choice. They're here working, and all the properties were bought. Now, gives the context to where the barn is. That's down to the village towards Tavern. There are a number of properties here in the middle of the village you can rent out. The first one here is the radio room. In its day it received radio signals from the mainland, which are now received elsewhere on the island, and it was kitted out for being just single people. Next to it is the square cottage. This is the remains, the kitchen, etc., when the south wing of the old house was demolished. And of course, we come on to the old house itself, which was built by Sir John Borlase Warren, who was MP for Marlow, and he owned Lundy Island for 7 years. This is split into two properties now, Old House South and Old House North. So near the heart of the village is another property called the Quarters. This was put up originally to house builders, and it was taken over by the landlord, renovated and brought up to the standard. It actually sleeps 5 people, and you get a good view of the helicopter field, the pig pen, and the church. Looking out over the choppy waters today of the Bristol Channel and along the valley, we come across the old school, another property that you can rent from Landmark Trust, which houses 2 people. It's also affectionately known as the Blue Bung, which is short for Blue Bungalow. Now, one of its illustrious inhabitants in the past, a school teacher, was summarily dismissed by the owner of the island because she committed the grievous offence of paying income tax to the mainland on her school teacher salary, and that was considered such a dangerous precedent for the owner of the island, who considered it independent of England. But now it's a 2-bedroom property, as I said, and it sits next to the big St John's. This is Little St John's, and it sleeps 2 people. And across there is Big St John's, which sleeps 3 people. people. These were farm buildings used at various times as a stable, hen house, cowshed, cookery and hay store. And they were converted into cottages in 1964 before being brought up to the Landmark Trust standard. These two properties, which is actually Bramble Villa East and Bramble Villa West, was originally constructed as one property by the Reverend Hudson Heaven in 1893, and he used a colonial style of veranda facing east, similar to those living in India, Africa or Australia. For context, there's again the old school and Biggins and Little John's with the church in the distance. You can hear me above the gale. Built in 1902. This is Hamner's. It's a fisherman's cottage. It sleeps 4 people. And it's another one of the National Trust properties. It's near the castle, and you go on this track to get up. It is really solidly built and has to be in order to stand up against the wind, well, especially the easterly wind, although it's supposedly in a sheltered dip, because normally the wind comes from the west, not like today when it's howling easterly gale. But you also get a nice view of the east coast of the island. In the distance you can see the cliffs from there. Is Castle Cottage. It was tagged onto the original castle to take the cable from the mainland, but the cable didn't work so well, which is why we use the microwave transmitter. And it sleeps 2 people? Yes. 2 people. And you get a really good view out towards the south end of the island. Here's a better look at Castle Cottage, and of course the rest of the castle itself. The castle itself was built by Henry III in 1244. Now Lundy was classed as a royal rabbit warren, so of course the whole cost of the castle itself was paid for by the sale of rabbits. Today the castle hosts 3 other properties within its wall, apart from the tax on Castle Cottage, which came in 19th or 20th century. This one actually is Castle Keep South with the 4 people, and that one is Castle Keep North. That one definitely is Castle Keep East. So that one sleeps 2, that one sleeps 2, but this one sleeps 4. Time to head out and meet up with a house that belongs to a very historical family that once was the hotel here on the island.
When we walked in fields of gold,